Yep.
Mustafa recently was complaining about gang members, so only an officer is able.
Started screaming and begging them to stop.
Casey, can you do me a favor?
Stop
Can you see
hurting
if
him.
we're
I'm gonna
live
testify
on?
against you. I don't want to be involved in this, but
If we're live on
I will
YouTube,
get out and I will do whatever I need to do
YouTube,
to you
Facebook,
guys
and if you can check
convict
Twitter.
him
I don't know
because
if you have my
accusing
Twitter.
him. He said the exact same thing as Mustafa.
Okay.
They were picking him up and dropping him by his handcuffs. They dragged him down the hall. They dragged him down the stairs while he
Okay,
was
we're live on YouTube. All right,
unconscious,
cool.
and
All right,
continued
sounds
to
good.
be
We're gonna
another
start
call.
in maybe just about
This is the worst
2,
case of
3, 5
brutality,
minutes.
jail
All right,
brutality that
I've got a
heard
video
of.
playing in the background.
I've
That's the
heard of a
jail
lot.
board meeting.
Please address these.
5 minute, and we'll
The
start.
eyes of the community are on you, and I also want to say it's an atrocity to say that this is a public meeting. Why are there only 5 people allowed in here? Is this a public meeting or not? The eyes of the community are on you.
My name is Mohammed Al Jazari. I'm Mustafa's older brother, and I'm here to speak about Mustafa's abuse in jail and other inmates that my brother and our good friend here mentioned, Eric and Sergio Diaz. So someone, a few months ago, someone that goes by the name Sonic was stabbed multiple times by MS-13 members. And from what we know is these jails, your jail, those doors are operated electronically. So only an officer is able to open an inmate's door. Now, Mustafa recently was complaining about gang members being at his door. These are 3 trustee inmates that this happened in October, where they were banging on his door. They were shoving water from underneath his door. They flooded his cell with the correctional officers standing idly by, laughing at the whole situation. For 3 trustee inmates to bang on his door, threaten his life for 30 minutes with no action from officers, it just shows you what kind of jail you're running here. That there's no order. That inmates that are gang affiliated are able to threaten Mustafa's life.
They told him that we're gonna get the door open.
They're telling him that the officers are gonna pop his door open and they're gonna go in and they're gonna stab him. This is something that happened to another inmate about 6 months ago. That inmate is on release right now. He goes by the name Sonic. So Mustafa made a formal complaint to Captain Powell and Major Herlock. We came in with those concerns. We told them that, and Mr. Miletus, we informed them of these threats that my brother is getting, and their solution was to cover up my brother's window. So they say they're putting him in protective custody. Now, what is protective custody? This is what we know from Mustafa. He's sitting in the same jail, in the same cell, with the same inmates all around him. All they did was come up to him and they covered his door. They didn't move him to a different unit. They didn't move the other inmates to different units. The same inmates are in the same units. All they did was essentially block his view. So my brother is in solitary confinement. The only time he has rec, he's supposed to get rec 3 times a week. He does not get rec. When he files a complaint to the officer, they simply ignore him. So he's not getting his rec. He's sitting in the cell for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with his windows covered. He says, even at night when they turn off the lights, I can't even find the restroom. I can't even find the toilet. So when I'm going to the restroom, I have to feel my way around the cell to get to the toilet. So
he's innocent until proven guilty.
So this looks like punishment for someone that's filing a complaint with the officer. When you file a complaint and tell them that another inmate is threatening my life, you don't punish the person filing the complaint. You're supposed to address the issue. And they're not addressing the issues. They're punishing Mustafa for complaining. That's what they're doing. They're punishing. This is retaliation.
Okay, where YouTube is good, right?
That's complaining. Another thing I wanted to mention is that my brother, after the accident, brother had an accident on Wednesday. Now, the officer claimed that my brother told him that he did it on purpose, but my brother also had court for something unrelated the next day on a Thursday. My brother showed up to court despite being in a coma the night before, despite being in a hospital for over 6 hours in the hospital. He still showed up to court. It shows you what kind of person he is. If he had done something wrong, he would have ran away. You would have never find out where he was. And on Friday, when he spoke to the lawyer, he told the lawyer that he wanted her to accompany him to speak with Officer Drum She called him back and she said, Officer Drum was extremely angry that you were bringing a lawyer and he does not want to talk anymore. So what does he do?
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa threw the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. The video that we had is the jail board meeting. Our county jail is governed by board members. When you go to the governor, they'll tell you that this county jail, is a private jail. What that means, it doesn't fall under the Department of Corrections. It's a private jail. In our county jail, we have a private jail. Now, you go to the governor will send you to the Department of Corrections. The Department of Corrections will tell you, we have no jurisdiction over this jail. That if you have problems, if you have grievance, if you have loved ones in this county jail that are mistreated, you should go to the jail board. And the jail board is comprised of the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, the Sheriff Glenn Hill, and the Chief of Police, Peter Newsham, and the Human Rights Commission, Raul Torres. Now, these are the only individuals that have jurisdiction into the county jail. Now, at the time when you see in this video, that's my brother, Muhammad, that in a jail board meeting, he told the jail board members that Mustafa was beaten inside the jail. At the time, we didn't have the video, but we were telling them that Mustafa was beaten up by correctional officers, that Mustafa is in solitary confinement. Mustafa was beaten up, abused, and denied medical. And we were essentially begging them to give Mustafa medical. We were telling Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, we want Mustafa to make it to trial. Mustafa is a pre-trial detainee. He had not had court yet. Essentially, he's in a county jail without a trial yet. And correctional officer beat Mustafa. This is a video of Mustafa where 6 giant correctional officers enter Mustafa's cell. 6 giant correctional officers enter Mustafa's cell only to take out an unconscious Mustafa, while one of them is still hitting him on the head, kicking him. Mustafa is handcuffed behind his back. He's limped over, unconscious. He gets dragged from one cell. They beat him up in a cell. They take him out unconscious, half naked, take him out from one cell into another cell. Casey, if you can do me a favor, don't just bring people up. Let me know before you can bring people up. Did you bring that person up? Casey, can you hear me? Don't just bring people up. Let me know. Please let me know before you can bring them up. Thank you. I love you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being there. That's fine. I just, I want to go over I have a lot of stuff that I want to cover. I love you, ma'am. Mustafa's beaten up, taken out from one cell into another cell, and this is the video. And the way they rush in, you see these correctional officers, they run into that cell. One of them, you'll see that he has his taser already, he drew out his taser. So he goes in with his unholstered unholster that taser. So they run into that cell. And you see that one correctional officer with his taser. I'm going to zoom in. You see that taser? He already took out his taser, and he goes in with that taser unholstered. And the question is, what justifies 6 giant correctional officers to go in, beat Mustafa, only to take him out, unconscious, limped over, handcuffed behind his back, half naked, and they carry him from one cell into another cell. Now, the internal notes, when you read the internal notes, you'll see that they say only 3 correctional officers were there. I mean, we see 6 giant correctional officers. They say that they all slipped on water. I mean, when we got to see Mustafa's arm is 3 times the size of a normal arm. His head is all bumpy. And we'll go over those pictures. And inside that cell, they're beating him. And when they do take him out, he's completely unconscious. You'll see that he's completely limped over. His feet is he's half naked. I mean, what justifies that? Why? I mean, you're talking about a pre-trial detainee. This is May 24, 2023. And that one correctional officer, he hits him on the head, he kicks him, and you see Mustafa completely limped over, and his feet is barely touching the ground. He's being airlifted by 2 giant correctional officers. His feet being dragged. And he get carried from one cell into another cell, where in another cell they beat him, they strip him completely naked, they abuse him, and then deny him medical. Now, this is a solitary confined inmate. We weren't allowed to see Mustafa for 2 weeks. And when we finally got to see Mustafa, these are the injuries that we see Mustafa. Mustafa's head, you see the bumps on his head? His head is all bumpy. His arm is 3 times the size of a normal arm. That's his arm. So Mustafa's arm is 3 times the size of a normal arm. His head is all bumps. That's Mustafa's head. And you can't tell me another inmate beat him up, because this is a solitary confined inmate. The only individuals that have access to Mustafa is the correctional officers. So we go back to the video from earlier.
Did she ever?
We go back to the video from earlier where when we found out about Mustafa's condition, we called the governor. The governor would send you to the Department of Corrections. that oversees jails. Department of Correction is what oversees jails. And they tell you that in this county, here in Virginia, you have a county jail that's private. We have no jurisdiction over that jail. Then who oversees that jail? They tell you it's the board members. The board members are assigned by county supervisors, like Christopher Shorter, DeShandra Jefferson. They assign jail board members. That the county supervisors don't have jurisdiction over this jail. And they tell you that the individuals that are in charge is the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, Chief of Police, Peter Newsham, Sheriff Glenn Hill, and Human Rights Commission, Raul Torres. So in a jail board meeting, in that video that you saw earlier,
He falsifies my brother's police
in this
report
video,
and obtains a arrest warrant based on false pretenses and arrests my brother. Now,
my
brother's
brother
not given
stands in
bond.
front of the Commonwealth Attorney and he tells her,
My brother is not given bond, and he has no prior convictions. He has no criminal record.
and he tells her that they beat Mustafa.
Hours a day, 7 days a week.
This is the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth. Right next to her is Raul Torres. Right next to her is the Assistant Chief of Police, Kevin Kerhart. Now, Kevin, I think we can call each other on first name basis, sir. Given the history that we have with you. I have the whole entire file. I have you on the scene of the accident. And on your watch, investigators falsified Mustafa's police reports. Now, I understand that you handle homicide investigations. And my question to you is, why was this case not assigned a homicide detective? So we'll come back to that question. I understand you're retired a couple of days ago. I guess you're running away from what's coming. This community is waking up to a reality where Mustafa's police reports are falsified. Kids are weaponized against Mustafa. A vehicle that's crushed and staged. A dash camera that's cut before impact by your police department. A dash camera that the police department removed the audio, and in their internal files, they admit that they have the audio. But for 2 years, they say they don't have the audio. Welcome back to you, sir. We have a lengthy conversation to have with you. In this video, this is a jail board meeting. A jail board meeting is individuals that sit on a jail board that oversee any abuse that happen inside the jail. So my brother talks about Mustafa. I talk about Mustafa. My dad talks about Mustafa. And we tell Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, we beg her to take Mustafa to the hospital. Of course, they don't take Mustafa to the hospital. And they're terrified because, well, Mustafa got in a vehicle accident. He was helicoptered to the hospital. At one point, when he woke up out of a coma, they did a full body CT scan. That Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is terrified that if they were to take Mustafa to the hospital, they essentially have to do another full body CT scan. And if you compare the CT scan from before he entered the jail to after he was beaten up by correctional officer, it's going to show that correctional officer beat him inside the jail. Now, at the time, I remind you, we didn't have the video. So Commonwealth Amy Ashworth did everything she can to cover up what happened to Mustafa. And of course, at the time, they never gave Mustafa medical. And to today, Mustafa sits in solitary confinement for over 2 years. And I remind this community, this is a pre-trial detainee who have not had court yet. His preliminary hearing under Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is suspended. In Virginia, we have a 6-month speedy trial. By law, you're supposed to take Mustafa to trial. Now it's been over 2 years. Mustafa sits in a county jail, and the Commonwealth attorney refused to take Mustafa to trial. She's terrified. Terrified of the evidence that will show that her police officer falsified the police reports, crushed and staged the vehicle to make it look like a head-on collision. It's terrified because her police department cut and mute the dash camera. Mustafa has a dash camera inside the car that show it's a vehicle accident. Kids. The kids, his girlfriend's kids, Dorothy, are weaponized against Mustafa, coached against Mustafa, told things that are not true by the detective, Detective Romero, and then put in a forensic interview. I have the forensic interview, so you don't have to take my word for it. We'll play the forensic interview. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is terrified. So Mustafa, as a result, Mustafa sits in solitary confinement for over 2 years, no medical, slowly deteriorate because Commonwealth attorney refused to take him to trial. He's terrified. You know, the disturbing part is when you go to a jail board meeting, I mean, essentially, you're asking, you assume that the Commonwealth attorney is going to fix it, that the chief of police is going to fix it, that there is accountability in this police department, that the sheriff is going to fix it, Sheriff Glenn Hill, that his correctional officers are going to be held accountable. Now, the disturbing part is, I mean, I'm sitting there asking the Commonwealth attorney to hold those police officers accountable, the chief of police to hold his police officer accountable, the sheriff hold his correctional officers accountable for beating and abusing Mustafa. I mean, you assume that that there is some kind of accountability under their watch. But when you find out that this is a pattern for them, that they've done it before, they've done it with other people, then you take a step back and you ask yourself, what accountability do you expect from those individuals? Now, you don't have to take my word for it. I've got files where I can show you that under Commonwealth attorney, there is no accountability. Because Mustafa Al-Jazari's file is not an isolated incident. Under Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth is doing it to other people. Now, every time I get on a podcast, I remind this community, you do not have to take my word for it. When I tell you there is no accountability under Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, I have a video that I will show you that's unrelated to Mustafa. Completely unrelated. But it will show you that this Commonwealth attorney does not care. I mean, she sits there with this concerned look, right? I mean, does she not have a concerned look on her face? But the reality is, she didn't do anything to give Mustafa medical. Now it's her job to give Mustafa medical after a correctional officer. We just watched a video where Mustafa is getting carried unconscious from one cell into another cell. in the internal notes. They lied in the internal notes. I have the internal notes from the jail. Now, why is Mustafa getting beaten up? I'll tell you, Mustafa got beaten up because we're on the outside. The family on the outside said, we were saying we have evidence that they falsified Mustafa's police report. And we're talking about releasing it out to the community. We wake up to a reality where Mustafa is beaten up inside the jail, abused inside the jail, and denied medical. And they're attempting to scare Mustafa, scare the family, and they don't want us to talk about what they've done to Mustafa. So they beat him inside the jail. Commonwealth attorney Amy Ashworth, there is no accountability under her. I'm going to play another video, a file completely unrelated to the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. But it's going to show that this Commonwealth attorney does not care. As a matter of fact, will go as far as attempt to hide the police misconduct in this police department. This is a body
Anything is
cam.
possible. I didn't expect this award, I'm not gonna lie, but I appreciate it, and hard work pays off.
This is a body cam of Tatiana David. Tatiana David, according to the official story, that she's an abductee from Ithaca, New York, by her boyfriend, which is the father of her 5-year-old baby. That's the official story. That's what the police department tell us. Now, is there witnesses to all this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is, if you look up Tatiana David, which happened 2 years ago, the only witness that they have is some fat white guy that they interviewed, and he says in his own word that he didn't see anything. So essentially what we have is a narrative given by the police department that this is an abductee, that Tatiana David is an abductee out of Ithaca, New York. Mind you, abducted by her boyfriend, the father of her 5-year-old baby. And they tell you that Tatiana David was found outside the vehicle with a gunshot wound, insinuating that her boyfriend, the father of her 5-year-old baby, is the one that put a bullet in her. Now, that's interesting. They say that we found Tatiana David outside the vehicle. I mean, I have a body cam where it shows Tatiana David being rolled around like a pretzel inside the vehicle. And you'll see that here. You see police officers. I mean, you see all the bullets on that vehicle. They shot up the vehicle with just about 50 AR-15 bullet hole. But they tell the news that her boyfriend's the one that shot her, that we found her outside the vehicle. I mean, you see in the background, that's Michael Davis. They say that her boyfriend, the father of her 5-year-old baby, came at the police, shot at the police. Now, we see a body cam where he's being dragged from inside the vehicle. He never came out of the vehicle. As a matter of fact, there is no gun found on Michael Davis. They tell you this is an abductee. We pursued the vehicle. Michael Davis shot at the police, but in the body cam, you see that Michael Davis is being dragged from the vehicle, and there's no gun. Now, Tatiana David is being rolled around like a pretzel and then dragged from inside the vehicle. That's Tatiana David. Repositioned somewhere else. And they come out to the media and they tell you, we found her outside the vehicle. That's a cover up.
My hands are fucked. They're cut by glass. Switch. Here. Look out. Get her out here. Get her out. Get her right down here.
Tatiana David is being rolled around like a pretzel. By the way, she's already dead at that point. They already shot at the vehicle with 50 AR-15 bullet hole. I mean, wait a minute. I thought this was an abductee. What are you doing shooting at a vehicle with an abductee in it?
Other people that need rescue. One gunshot window, they're trying to figure out the rest.
Okay, copy. Now here's the
Stand her up. Yeah, grab. There you go. There you go.
Watch out.
Hey, help him up. There you go. Flip her over.
Tatiana David is being dragged from inside that vehicle, repositioned somewhere else, only for Prince William County Police Department and State Police, Virginia State Police, to say, we found her outside the vehicle.
Grab the back of her head. I got a leg. All right. Go.
And then the rest of the body cam is just officers standing feet away from Tatiana David laughing. That's Casey Fines, Officer Casey Fines, the same police officer that's involved in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case.
Good job, guys. Thank you for your help, all right? I appreciate it, man. Thanks, bro. I got to plug stand up first started more.
So they're selecting names.
Hey, what's your name? Jensen. It's brand new.
Making sure they know who's on site. And this is a complete cover-up. Now, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth goes to a judge, and she gets a judge order to seal off this body cam. This body cam is sealed. We're leaking it on the internet. The official story is that the police department found Tatiana David outside the vehicle with a gunshot wound. And that her boyfriend is the one that unalived her. I mean, takes you 2 minutes to watch this body cam and you realize that the police department put 50 AR-15 bullet hole into that vehicle. Wait a minute. I thought this was an abductee. According to Virginia State Police, by law, you're supposed to outweigh the risk when you're pursuing an abductee. I mean, disregard for her life, you pursue the vehicle. I mean, the real question is, if this wasn't a black girl, would you have made that same decision? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The disregard for her life. I mean, you know, I'll tell you, at one point you'll say that the chief of police, Peter Newsham, is going to have accountability, that he's going to hold that police officer that made that call to pursue that vehicle accountable. But instead, they engage in a cover-up. They cover this up. They tell you, we found her outside the vehicle. I mean, they take it as far as put 50 bullet hole into that vehicle. An abductee. I mean, the disregard for her life. Even then, you say the chief of police, Peter Newsham, or the chief of police for Virginia State Police is going to have accountability. That he's going to hold those police officers accountable. The one that made the decision to put 50 bullet hole into that vehicle. And when you find out that they panicked, that they thought there was a gun, and found out later there is no gun. So what do? They engage in a cover-up. There is no accountability under Chief of Police Peter Newsham There is no accountability in our Virginia State Police. Absolutely not. It's been 2 years. And they'll tell you this body cam is sealed. So even the FBI can't go in and look at what this police department did. Amy Ashworth, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, and instead of holding those police officers accountable, what she does, she goes to a judge and she gets an order to seal off this body cam to help Virginia State Police, Prince William County, continue the cover-up. And you want me to go to the Commonwealth attorney and ask her about my brother's case? Are you surprised that she didn't give Mustafa medical? Are you surprised that her police officer falsified this case and she looks the other way? We have a Commonwealth attorney who sits on a jail board, who her job is to make sure pre-trial detainees are safe. But on her watch, she covers up the police misconduct. She covers up the abuse inside our county jail. I mean, this is a completely separate case that this community is watching. So don't tell me this is an isolated incident. And we're expecting to go to her to fix the Mustafa Al-Jazari file, to hold these police officers accountable. Absolutely not. You know, this is a good segue to go into the lawyer, Elaine Jarvis. Elaine Jarvis is a lawyer that made contact with us. She said, I've been watching your brother's case, and I want to file a lawsuit against what they're doing to your brother. So she files a lawsuit in federal court for Mustafa. I have a video that's very disturbing. This lawyer begins filing a lawsuit for Mustafa. She comes out publicly and talk about what they've done to Mustafa. I mean, she's public. She comes out and she calls out the Commonwealth attorney. She says, Amy Ashworth, you're watching falsified the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And then she releases the jail videos. I mean, how do you think I got this jail video? This jail video was released by Elaine Jarvis. She went on social media and she said, absolutely not. She's not staying quiet. Let's see if I can find the video. She said, absolutely not, that she's not staying quiet. She comes out, makes a video, and then release the jail video. Quickly, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth comes after her. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth began to threaten her with her license. This lawyer gets so terrified. Next thing you know it, she's filing a lawsuit against me, the brother who's advocating for Mustafa. The only voice that's here for Mustafa. She wants to silence me. I mean, you take a step back and you realize that this lawyer had made a deal with the Commonwealth Amy Ashworth to protect herself from having the Commonwealth attorney go after her. She's terrified. She got so terrified, she dropped the case, and now she's filing a lawsuit against me. Let me see if I can find the video. Elaine Jarvis is praying right now. She's like, please don't find it. Please don't find it. Oh, we're going to find it, man. Federal court has this video and has so many other videos. She files a lawsuit. This lawyer files a lawsuit against me in federal court, in circuit court in Warren County. She's telling circuit court in Prince William County that I released a video and that I stole the criminal case from her. When I have evidence, videos, and audio that I'm the one that supplied her with the criminal case file. I was already in possession of the files before I met her.